Welcome back to NuWho Review. We are back for yet another season because Doctor Who is back for another season. My name is Farrar, and I am back with our usual cohorts, Lewis.
Hello there.
Alex.
Hi.
And Paul.
Hey there.
Well, I hope you guys had a good summer off. Mm-hmm. We're back on Skaro now. Even before I knew it was Skaro, the first thing I thought of was, all right, there's like a blend of ancient and modern technology in this warfare. The last time I saw that was in Genesis of the Daleks when they were on Skaro. And sure enough, that's where we ended up. I was a little bit nervous when I saw the first few minutes of this show because I thought, are they really going to kitchen sink the first episode of the season? We've got Skaro, we've got Daleks, we've got young Davros, we've got old Davros, and we've got the Master. I'm just going to trust that it's going to go in a direction that we're all going to be happy with as fans, because we're reviewing part one of a two-part story now. It's uncertain from the beginning of the episode how long it's been since we last saw Clara and the Doctor together. Peter Capaldi's grown his hair out, which makes him look older and grayer. Clara has changed a little bit. She's still teaching, but she's now with UNIT. Her outfit and her attitude have changed a little bit. She's a lot more self-confident. She's got her cool scooter and leather jacket motif. You know, she's like a woman of action now. We saw hints of that before. She liked to be verbally in charge, but now she's like really morphing into an authority figure. You know, her character has evolved in that way. I guess in that way it doesn't really matter how long it's been, but I wonder how long it's been since the Christmas episode, for example, since the last time we saw them together.
Yeah, so it's almost like there's been enough time, there's been enough of a distance from the last episode that she's not going to be necessarily saddled with all this grief. And the Doctor's been gone for some period of time. If you saw the prequel, you'll know that what was going on there. He was in a state of contemplation, and then we got a hint of why he was out for 3 weeks or just not enough time for bedtime. He had left that. What was that he left with the Master, his best friend?
The confession dial?
The confession dial.
His will.
Yeah.
So that's his last will and testament that he left to his best friend, which we'll find out more about that probably in this next episode.
Well, I noticed with Clara that in the class is definitely a new school year because Courtney, was that the little girl? She wasn't in the classroom.
True.
So it's definitely, because I was looking for her.
She's got a whole new crop of students.
Yeah, because I was definitely trying to see if there was the usual suspects, and it wasn't. So it's definitely a new year.
Which is interesting because it makes me wonder if we're going to see those kids again older now, because Courtney had quite a bit of interaction with our lead characters and was written really well, was played very well.
Yeah, that'd be great to see her again.
Yeah, I was curious. I was trying to see if it was the same school because where she was in the building, it looked a little different. So I wasn't sure if it was a different school, the principal, or whoever. He looked a little different. I couldn't remember if it was the same guy. So I didn't know if maybe she changed schools because the memory of Danny.
It looked like the same room to me, but dressed slightly differently. I guess we might get more of that in the second half.
Okay.
If it's been a while since they were together, they might catch up. Or they might just run right into the story and we're left to figure it out for ourselves. They seem to do that a lot in the last season where we just have to figure it out for ourselves as the audience.
Well, now that you don't have Danny, she's not really necessarily tethered to Coal Hill anymore.
Right.
Right? You know, and maybe by design, they chose not to show you any of those other characters so that we'll start off, she's at Coal Hill, but now she's set in this situation. We don't even know what her fate is, but they're going to kick off hopefully with this will get resolved, and they'll have adventures that are not going to be necessarily Earth based.
I'd be very surprised to see Coal Hill again this season.
I think it was there. We know we'll give you a little bit of that, but it's basically a launching pad for her to go out and have adventures with the Doctor.
I hope she's dead. I don't like Clara.
Yeah, but
I'm done with Clara. I'm so done. I know. I'm just so
done. Season, so it would be an awful waste of money.
Before we talk about that, we should actually talk about all the awesome things we didn't see in the episode.
Yes, sorry.
Well, I was also looking forward to Clara's exit at the end of last season, but it didn't happen. So now we're
and now they're saying she's done it this season. So who knows?
Yeah, sure. Until she decides that she isn't, and then we get Clara Mark IV.
Right.
I have a theory about that. you may not like to hear, but I'll tell you later.
About Clara Mark
I highly doubt that, considering she's been hired in another series.
Oh, okay.
So
Tell me the name of the boy who isn't going to die today.
Davros.
I had a question about the opening scene with the hand mines. Is that normally something that you would see, or is that a new element?
that's a new element that Moffat introduced. They didn't have anything that strange in Genesis of the Daleks. In fact, a lot of Genesis of the Daleks was concerned with the similarities between the Dalek race and the Nazi regime.
Nazi Germany.
So the Khalids and the Thals and the mutants, although they would like to have, described as having all these differences, they weren't that different at all. That was kind of the point,
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you notice that Davros has been promoted again? He used to be chief scientist, and then he was supreme leader, and now he is Dark Lord.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Star Wars.
Yes, there was definitely
Quite
a lot
a
of
bit,
Star Wars reference.
We had the Cantina Band. We have the
Yeah.
We have the Cantina Band.
Yeah.
We have the well-heeled leaders striding through giant halls of marble.
Yeah.
And we have a guy in a black hood talking like.
Yeah, we've
Yes,
got a
it was
Darth Maul
definitely-
stand-in,
well,
basically.
and
made of
also
steel.
there's-
No, he was more to me. He sounded more like Palpatine.
And there's a Harry Potter reference too, because the guy looks like Lord Voldemort, and
Yeah.
they make a reference about hissing in a dress,
Uh-huh.
and that's not going to scare me. And I was like, really, you just made fun of Harry Potter.
I do like the fact that in this one episode we get so many. I used to mention kitchen sink, but we're getting a lot of
Times and
we're
places.
revisiting previous
Sisterhood
sets.
of Karn.
Sisterhood of Karn,
Yeah.
yet again,
Yeah.
and finally we get them some proper on-screen episode time versus just a.
Just the prequel. That's true.
And once again, they're saying something apart from sacred flame, sacred fire. Doctor Who has always been full of really repetitive chanting, which kind of like
I miss the repetitive chanting.
there are two of those where it begins to grate on me: Brain of Morbius and
Hand of Fear.
Planet of the Spiders.
Oh.
But getting back to the hand mines thing, I thought the hand mines were very clever in that one of the things that we notice about Davros is his mechanical right hand.
Oh, I totally missed that.
I thought that was an interesting parallel.
Remember, that hand was blown off in Revelation of the Daleks.
Having said that, in the second part, how much you want to bet there's going to be specifically a scene that happens, right? Maybe that's where he is as the kid. There has to be a sacrifice.
I wonder.
Lose his hand or nothing or everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if young Davros is going to lose his sight, because that's one of the things that I always noticed about Davros is that he doesn't really have eyes. He just has those sunken in, blacked out eye spots.
You are dreaming, Lord Davros.
No. I am anticipating.
So, what do you think about the return of Missy? I'm kind of like. I like the way she just brushed it off. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, let's go. Because that's
The
what the
Master
Master does.
always brushes it off.
Anyone who's like surprised about that after Sim's Master came back should just expect that the Master will come back. That's what the Master does.
I loved his little speech, like her little speech. It just reminded me so much, like her sitting there going, "I'm not good," and then like the exchange between her and Claire is awesome. And then she goes, "You see that couple over there? Well, you're the puppy." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "It's so true." So I love that little exchange. I just thought it was really good. You got to see more of Missy because I felt like we didn't see enough of her. Like we saw her, but we didn't get enough of the true character of the Master, I felt.
It was interesting to see her back so soon. You know, in the new series, we typically see the Master towards the end of the season. And now here she is at the very beginning. It's only been one episode since we've seen her.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the Christmas episode, and bam, she's already back. Where are they going in the second half? Because this episode was packed full of stuff. I mean, I remember thinking, like when they did the whole use the algorithm to find him thing, I thought, well, they could have played that out a little bit longer. I mean, they just changed the algorithm once and instantly they find him. And then I realized, no, they have to keep things going. I mean, there's a lot in this 45-minute episode. There's an awful lot going on.
So much that I wonder, though, the Master ended up being rather an adjunct to this episode. Just like the subplot with the airplanes, it really didn't add a whole lot, but flavoring.
Yeah, the planes was a gimmick. It was something that they could do to grab people's attention.
It was the red button.
I think they did a play with the audience. Inside the show, they said, someone's trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do it in a big way. That could also be the writers telling the audience, all right, we just had to throw something big out there for you to notice and start writing about.
Yeah. It's a bit of misdirection.
The Master loves misdirection.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising.
Everybody turn on the phones.
News, websites, and Twitter.
Twitter?
Hashtag.
The planes have stopped.
Is the Master working for Davros, or is it the other way around? Because the last time the Master had henchmen, things didn't work out so well. Do we have any inkling of that yet? Any theories, guys, on the balance of power between Davros and Missy?
Yeah, that'd be a wonderful outcome to see them actually in league in the second episode of this. I didn't get that sense, though.
The end of this episode, we see some things that the general audience may think they saw, which we didn't really see. But this is my quick theory about what's going on. Davros remembers that the doctor saved him from the hand mines. That hasn't happened yet, and Davros is maybe trying to close the loop on getting saved before he dies, because he thinks he's really dying now. So he's trying to set these things in motion, and he remembers being told by the doctor that you did such and such thing, and I'm going to. It's my only way out is to save you. So Missy, the TARDIS, Clara getting destroyed is all just a show. I think what's going to happen is the doctor's going to save Davros. Davros's timeline is not going to be altered. It's basically going to cause him to be who he ends up being. And the doctor's basically just a pawn. But is Missy complicit in that is the question. Is she getting something else out of this?
When I saw the as you said, the things we think we saw,
Right.
my impression of it was that was something to make the audience go, oh my God. The doctor has only seen it on a screen.
Did it even happen?
He was not there. I'm thinking this is Davros toying with the doctor, or perhaps the Master toying with the doctor again. I think in one of the episodes last season, somebody was talking about if you want to destroy the doctor, you have to destroy that which he cares about the most. That's not himself. I'm wondering if they need something from the doctor and they're trying to break him psychologically in order to get what they want. Now, what I'd really like to see is a twist like the doctor sent out his confession dial and that was actually just a ruse. He wasn't actually in 1138 Essex dying. The person who's dying is Davros. Davros is the doctor in the far future. No.
That's actually, you say that's because what did he say? You look more like me. What if...
I know it's not going to happen, but it would be great.
The person that's left behind in that minefield is the doctor.
Yeah, it could be.
How come you're still alive?
Well, death is what other people do. Would you like to sit in the shade? I know how you humans burn.
If we're still in this prison of the doctor's mind, which we might be,
right
after last season, none of this could be real. This could
I
all
really
be working up
now,
to...
No, there's no way they wouldn't have revealed that by now.
You sure he's not in Missy's TARDIS? And this is all a game?
Still left over from the Death in Heaven episode?
Yeah.
So did you see the interview that Will Wheaton conducted with Peter and Jenna? One of the last things that Capaldi said, I'm going to paraphrase, is expand your mind or rethink your thoughts on a regeneration. So he's kind of throwing something out there.
Because Davros gets regenerated?
And then we've seen Maisie, I think it's Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
There's that scene at the very end of the trailer. He says, you, and she says, what took you so long?
What took you so long,
oh,
right.
man. There's a couple of ways you could go.
So who is she? Is she Susan?
Now, what would really turn Who on its head and what Missy is potentially a foreshadowing of?
Carol Foreman comes back.
What if this young 18-year-old is a future incarnation of the Doctor?
Or the Master.
Or the Master. Or what happens if Clara Oswald can regenerate now because she spent more time in the vortex than River Song
That'd be
I don't
stupid.
think
We
that's
don't
how
want
the
that.
vortex works.
I'm ready for her to leave.
I know.
No.
I don't think
But-
the vortex
but
gives
what
you
if-
Time
but
Lord
what if-
powers.
Yeah, and then there's that little line that Missy drops, I've known the Doctor since she was a little girl. One of those is a lie, and it's all very manipulative. They keep toying with us.
And I don't think they're going to stop.
No.
I don't think the questions are going to be answered in the next episode. Just because we know the first 6 episodes are 3 two-parters, I don't think it's going to be question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. They want to get those cumulative viewing figures up. They don't want people to just tune in for part 1 because the trailer was good and then leave next week.
True, and not only that, I know that Moffat is very fond of a season-long arc, so he's setting something up.
That's what I was thinking. By setting up the Doctor is dying and he's got his confession dial and all this thing, by setting this up in the very first episode, are we seeing something like The Key to Time, where they're setting up a season-long arc?
Well, they've tried to do it before with The Impossible Astronaut, remember? The last few seasons have
I
had
didn't
an
find
arc.
that particularly satisfying, though.
I mean, all of NuWho has had season arcs, and most of Moffat has had multi-seasonal arcs. So
Yeah.
I would hope that they would use a 2-part format to actually grow stories and let them mature. But what we saw in the first episode was the kitchen sink. So it seems like they were then putting twice as much into those first parters.
Well, it's also got to be exciting enough to capture the audience, and hold them for the rest of the season. In England, that appears to have not worked. But in America, it seems to have worked gangbusters. So
I just wonder what would account for that drop. The football wasn't on.
I hate to say it, but a big part of it is going to be Capaldi, the classic feel of the Doctor, to the detriment of the soap opera aspect. His personification of the Doctor is not very sentimental or touchy-feely at all compared to the last 2.
Although we do have hugs now.
At least we have that. So it's
Because they hide your face.
a concession.
And when he said that, I was like, okay, so whose face is he uncomfortable with? His or Clara's?
He cannot be found. Of course he can. He has a weakness. If you seek the Doctor, first seek his friends.
At this point, who do we want to win? Missy or Davros? Leaving the Doctor out of it. Assuming they're planning something together and one of them is going to fail and come out and getting the short end of the bargain.
Yeah. Missy is really biding her time. You really wonder what her game is.
I don't know if she's no longer in control as she was or if she's just, as you said, biding her time
Right.
and waiting for things to come together and coalesce.
Right. Is she complicit in the plan, if there is a plan, or is she
Along for the ride.
waiting to sort of pick up the pieces afterwards?
Or waiting to strike.
Yeah.
Remember, as she said before, bananas!
Yeah, right. Right.
She may not have a plan at all. She may just be winging it and going, hey, Davros, that looks like fun. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's see where we can take it.
Or as she says, traps are her flirting.
I love the way she plays the character. It feels more like the Master than John Sim ever did to me.
Yeah, she's got a blend of the quiet cunning and the manic energy.
Yeah.
It's an evil Mary Poppins.
Oh, as soon as we saw the costume, we were like, okay, so she's evil Mary Poppins now. Got it. So what's she got on her magic bag? That's what I wonder.
Yeah.
She's going to have that magic carpet bag.
Yeah, it's a TARDIS.
Mary Poppins invented the TARDIS.
Yes. So the first thing I thought of when I saw him coming out on that tank with the fog machine, wherever the fog came from, and his guitar, I was like, oh my God, the Doctor's totally a rock god. And the next thought was, I want Capaldi and Sylvester McCoy to do a jam session. Because I think that'd be awesome.
The first thing I was thinking of was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Well, that was the intent, right?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Doctor who's getting a little back from Bill and Ted.
Tell him he must face Davros one last time.
And this was an homage to a character called the Mara from a couple of Fifth Doctor episodes.
Oh, is that
Missed
what it
that.
was?
Kenda
Okay.
and Snake Dance, for all of you out there.
All right.
I totally missed that.
I forgot about Snake
but
Dance.
what do Kenda and Snake Dance, for you old school Whovians, have? They have dream states. They have...
Yeah.
Are we going back to your theory that the Doctor is still in a dream state?
Why not?
And he's going to wake up 80 years old in The Matrix and the Deadly Assassin?
Wow, that would be fantastic. And then-
If it's Dallas, I'm going to scream. I'll give up on Doctor Who if it's Dallas. I really will.
It'd be great if he was in the Matrix this entire time and all last season. I just don't expect them to do that.
Do you think they're going to reuse that wasn't a weapon, that was a teleport thing? Remember when they thought Rose had been killed?
It's getting a little trite. And not only that...
Because I think they've reused it at least once after that.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about that final a couple of scenes, for starters, when the Dalek shot at Missy, you could see her skeleton, which is usually pretty indicative of somebody getting exterminated.
Yeah, that was a Dalek trademark starting in the 80s when they started doing, what was it? They had the green outline and the skeleton thing.
Right, and there's no way that is a teleport.
Did we see Clara's skeleton?
I believe so.
Well, didn't Missy blast her? No, I'm wrong about that, am I?
No, Missy died first.
Missy died first.
In quotations or whatever. Yeah.
Missy, so-called, died first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Davros is speaking and saying how I like it. It's almost like a hunt. It's like a predator versus the prey, and he's talking about how the Daleks think in their minds, and Claire is there and debating what she's going to do. Is she going to run if she's going to stay? Because Missy just stood and got shot, and then Claire runs toward the doorway. I don't know why she didn't run toward the tortoise. It's like, why didn't she run toward the tortoise? She had a key.
Yeah.
Good point.
I didn't understand that. I mean, she ran toward the doorway, and so that's why I think that she's not really dead, because I think Clara would have ran toward the freaking TARDIS. And
maybe
not the
she's
doorway.
Doctor Who's Reggie Bush. She starts running the wrong way, and then she eventually turns around. Oh, wait.
Well, there's
just saying.
All
I just
of this,
thought it was kind
sorry, Saints
all
fan.
of this kind of leads credence to your hypothesis that this could be a show. Mm-hmm. This is just being presented to him on a monitor in front of him. It may not actually be happening, right? Here's one thing. Where did they land initially? They landed on a space station, right? But then it turned out it was illusion, right? And they walk outside the space station, and then they encounter a Hartnell-era Dalek. That could all be illusion. Missy could have figured out how to generate said illusion by tapping into the Dalek that may have been controlling said illusion, and that all could be a projection.
You're thinking that's not even Skaro?
Oh, no, that could be on Skaro, but Missy could have sent in a little holoprojector fake version of herself and Clara and the Dalek in, and they could just be teleported themselves into the TARDIS and then left. Any number of things are possible.
I had a question. I thought the Daleks didn't remember who the Doctor was. Because remember that all got wiped, 2 seasons? Yeah, right. So I was like, okay, they're not explaining that. So I'm hoping they're going to explain it, or they're just not going to explain it, and we're in a different timeline.
No, that virus wouldn't have affected Davros.
It wouldn't? Okay.
No.
Okay. But the other Daleks, they were like, oh, I acquired they know what the TARDIS is.
Right.
I wonder if Davros is going to do was it episode 5? In 2005, that was Dalek. I wonder if Davros is going to try to trick the Doctor into doing something like that. You saved me once. Save me again. He will turn and he will say, no, I will work for the greater good now. And then once the Doctor does that, he's just going to be Davros of old. Is Davros going to seek some of that regenerative power from the Doctor?
Now that's an interesting gambit.
And is that why they're setting this elaborate trap to set the Doctor up?
It's got to be for more than just getting the Doctor to admit that compassion is not useful.
No.
There's got to be a lot more going on.
If you think about it from his character point of view, you might want to get the Doctor to say even more forthright, no, it is useful, I'm going to prove it to you.
By saving you.
Exactly. And then he saves Davros, and then we have an entire new Davros to deal with.
Well, I think that's all part of the already established timeline that he did save Davros, and that Davros is just manipulating the Doctor to complete that task.
Well, isn't it anytime your hero meets his destiny or finds out about what his future is going to be, he ends up still trying to change the outcome, but you end up making the outcome? I mean, that's...
Yeah, that typically happens.
No matter what he does...
Yeah, you really can't remove Davros, because at that point, you're removing the entire Time War and everything about the Daleks.
And everything about the Doctor.
You kind of completely unravel the Doctor if you remove Davros. Because it's almost like Davros made the Daleks, the Doctor made Davros, and Davros made the Doctor.
So isn't he a fixed point?
Yeah.
So
Let's not get into the fixed point
It's
thing.
like a Ouroboros, right? It's a snake eating its own tail.
But
So-
it reminds me, though, of the last time we saw the Time Lords really trying to intervene was when they decided to thwart the creation of the Daleks. Now, after all this time, what if the Doctor decides, you know what, I'm going to do that, destroy Davros, and in turn I will destroy the Daleks. And then the Time Lords have to intervene and say, no, the universe is different, and many things that need to be are, and so you can't destroy Davros.
Mind you, Gallifrey is still lost as of this point.
Although Missy said she knew where it was.
Right. She keeps
But is that a
teasing.
lie?
Oh, she just gave back the original coordinates,
Right.
Should have known better.
Today I should be talking to you out of the square window.
What the hell was that? How did she do that?
Don't know, some sort of psychic projection or something.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Who's playing Davros now?
Julian Bleach
Okay, same guy from
from the last couple of
Previous
appearances.
time.
Yeah, he does a good job.
I knew Terry Malloy was no longer available.
And it's a pity. I loved his personification of Davros.
And that is not a space station. That is a building. And the rest of the planet, the whole thing, is invisible.
So how does the illusion change? Like, is it because their eyes are open and now if you believe in the illusion that made it? Or
don't
is it
know.
because the Daleks like, okay, they figured out our evil plan.
Well, the other
Let's
thing-
turn off the button.
The other
That was a good
consideration,
question.
though, is that Skaro
That's a very
was
good
presumed
question.
to be destroyed, remember, by the hand of Omega. Now we see Skaro was cloaked. Perhaps the whole planet has been cloaked for a while.
Right, and he said you rebuilt it.
Yeah,
And not a new paradigm Dalek in sight.
So
I just realized that. Now, is this that we've got all these different timelines overlapping here on Skaro? Is that one thing that we can take from this, or is it they've had to round up all of the Daleks that they have had
that have survived.
that have survived the various strikings of the set?
Or it could be that Missy got her holodeck program wrong and programmed the wrong Daleks.
I wonder.
So are all these Daleks like? I haven't watched any of the really older stuff. So are a lot of these Daleks in this episode more old school, or
The Daleks in this date all the way back.
the costume designs and the sets were awesome in this
I love
episode.
the look of this episode overall.
Yeah.
I like
It really throws back to old school Who.
I like the camera positions and motions. I like the way the sets were decorated. I like the look of the film, the
Yeah.
color saturation.
Yeah.
It looked great. It sounded great.
Well, they want to pull out all the stops for the first episode of the
And they
season.
used a lot of modern songs too, like in their overall plot, like with Missy saying "Missy, you're so fine," and then the Doctor.
Well, that's
with the
becoming a
guitar
running
and-
joke with her.
Yeah, and then with the Doctor doing "Pretty Woman," like who was he playing
God,
"Pretty Woman"
yes.
for? Like, but they both blushed, which was kind of funny. So
Well,
they
I
both
love
were
it.
like,
Of course.
they both flirted back.
They would both assume that
Yeah.
it was for them, right?
Yeah.
Missy would assume, oh, well, he's playing it for me. And Claire's like, oh, no, he's playing it for me. Without having that little character interaction, we saw exactly what
Right.
was going on with them. I think a lot of Doctor Who has been really wordy recently with
Yeah.
emotions as opposed to just acting it out. It's nice to see the emotions being acted and not just whispered or shouted.
Compassion, Doctor. It has always been your greatest indulgence. Let this be my final victory. Let me hear you say it just once. Compassion is wrong.
I wonder if he's being manipulated into trying to distort the timeline, to try to undo the time war.
By whom and for what reason?
Right, exactly. It's either by Davros or by the Master.
Well, the Daleks lost the Time War, so that
Right.
would make sense.
Right.
The Master, on the other hand, what would her motivation be, apart
didn't-
from just crazy?
Didn't the Master sit the time war out?
Well, when John Sim came back, there was a couple lines that he threw out there.
I'll have to look up that
A
episode.
lot of questions.
Yeah.
No
I
think-
answers either in the trailer.
I think the snakes, Aurora, snake eating its own tail, time loop, the Doctor completing almost something he was destined to do. Davros is a real architect, manipulating the Doctor to finish the task he started.
I like that idea about the Ouroboros. What did we see a lot of last season? Loops of time. Mm-hmm. They told the tales in these fractured kind of ways, the half flashbacks, and then what the audience thought happened didn't happen.
Right.
And now it's going to be different. So I kind of like that idea about the loop of time, that he's going to fulfill his own destiny? And even if the Doctor does die, is he going to be reborn in a sort of loop?
And it's more, and it could be a clue to that the future episodes in this season may not be happening in an actual order too. Maybe this cliffhanger isn't going to be resolved the way we think it is.
Maybe
it'll be resolved at the end.
Yeah, part 2 of this episode could be the end of the season.
That'd be so like Moffat. I know for a fact that Claire and Missy they're going to reveal they're not dead.
Time will tell.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Wait to find out.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. We're out of time.
Cheers.
See you next week.
Bye.
See you next time.